She's a real pain in the... Welcome to the Pain in My Cast podcast with yours truly, Cassandra Jean.
I know, this one.
I know, I'm so hard on myself.
So much better than you think, Cass.
That's so sweet. I wish we would have been recording when we just did this little prayer circle with you, Jane, because Roger and I were not having the best day, and then we came in here with you, and you said some of the most beautiful words.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel like it just calmed my energy. And then it reminded me why I wanted you on the podcast to begin with, and why I kept telling Roger, I was like, we have to get Jane on the podcast. So I'm so excited to have you, Jane Santiago, in the lobby podcast, and have you in our lobby today.
Yes.
So,
and it speaks volumes. I mean, you're absolutely correct. I think you walk in here, you have a certain light that you express. You have a way in which you just have a very respectful, appropriate demeanor, but you have a story to tell too, right? And I'm excited to not only have the conversation in the lobby podcast today, but I think our viewers will be very happy to learn more about you and may be inspired as well. I think you have a story that touches multiple different coasts, but also multiple different women, and I think that's important on our podcast as well.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
I want to also praise you both for being so selfless and bringing people on and interviewing their stories.
Yeah.
You know, in an age of selfishness, like, that's so big of you.
Yeah.
Blessings on your podcast.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
Cute. And like literally Jane and I, when we first met, we totally hit it off. And one of the second things we ever did was we went to a live podcast show together.
Oh my gosh, yes,
Where?
Shannon Ford.
Where was it?
Shannon Ford, who we're both obsessed with. She's a podcaster. She's amazing.
She's so funny.
Where was this?
The Paramount.
Okay, got it.
She had a live comedy show.
Okay.
And it was so cool because you so rarely see influencers go that far in life that they start touring off of their Instagram fan base and having this comedy show. And it was...
That's our goal over here.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You can do anything.
She was on stage by herself.
Yes.
She did a whole show just by herself on stage. And the funniest thing too was she had VIP meet and greet. And Jane and I walked up to the venue. It was my second time hanging out with Jane. It was a new friendship. And Jane was like, watch this. I'm going to get us backstage and we're going to meet her. And I'm like, I don't know, Jane. I'm not really a rule breaker like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And I don't even know how it happened, but you got us to meet her.
Believe, baby. Everything is energy. I believed we were going to meet her and be there. It had to happen. We got so dressed up. We were so looking forward to it. And truly by accident, we didn't know that there was going to be a VIP meet and greet. And I just couldn't afford for us to live our lives and not have that moment. So we had a moment.
And it was a memory too, right? This is a memory where I could see that you're both engaged to the memory. Two very different perspectives, but also at the same time, it was memorable in the same way, right? I appreciate that.
So fun. It was. And, since we keep our, podcast kind of Austin-based, you know what I think is really funny is Jane and I first became friends on a boat in Lake Travis.
Oh.
But it was a mutual, our friend Arjun invited me, and it was our mutual friend group.
I think I remember this boat invite, because I wasn't invited.
You were not?
I was not invited.
Oh, okay.
No.
I mean, you didn't want to be.
Okay, that's
wasn't
fair.
A vibe. I literally spent 90% of the time on other boats because I was having such a bad time. And then the little time I spent on the boat, Cass was the only person I really vibed with. Yeah.
And I think that was the thing. That boat invite was not meant for me. It was meant for more of y'all.
It was a lot of women. It was a yacht.
It was women, and it wasn't about connection.
Yeah.
And it wasn't about actually meeting people that you might have community with.
Yeah.
It was a lot of male ego, just inviting as many women as they could invite. And because everyone knew that, it didn't really lend itself to a lot of positive female interaction or a lot of positive female-male interaction on that boat. Luckily, there was a Latin boat next to us, which was such a vibe. I had a great time on there.
But I think that's a little bit telling too, because do remember, while we also love that this is Austin based, as far as our platform giving you the ability to talk about misconceptions and a little bit more about your story, think about the way in which that male ego can play into dating in certain ways, right? Like,
Of course.
and I'm sure y'all probably walked away from that boat thinking, I do not want to date any of these men on this boat. Yeah.
And they're all doctors.
Yeah.
Surgeons. No.
Yeah.
And
not.
maybe it's the moment, right? But also, I think there's something to say that in a moment that was probably not most fitting for y'all to maybe meet or establish your first kind of interaction, you both walked away friends, right?
Yeah.
We really
It's
did.
like that's healthy, and that's
what it was?
that speaks volume about you both too.
You know, she was sweet. She
Yeah.
offered, I sat down. I don't know if I looked hungry, but she offered me a snackables, PB&J. Oh, what are those? You know, the little
Sandwich?
Yes.
Crustables?
And I was like,
Uncrustable.
thank you. Like the only person who's like offering me something other than drugs and alcohol.
It's the 5-year-old and me. I'm like, here's a peanut butter and jelly sandwich.
I feel I envision this moment.
We shared a Crustable and became friends.
I envision the
Fine.
moment with Cass, just like her bag, like, hold on, are you hungry? Give me 1 second, going in her bag.
It was innocent.
Does she have multiple options of food?
No. Only
No.
PB&J. 'Cause
Only PB&J.
I'm 5 in my head.
She came to my pool one time. She had like a sandwich, like chips, pretzels. I was like,
prepared.
Cass, like, who? Where's the 2-year-old that's here?
She's everything.
I embrace my inner child.
I love it.
Nice.
That's what I loved about Jane, though, because when I met her, and I know you've seen this, Roger, the Austin like boat scene.
Oh,
It's. I don't think that's like a place where you're gonna usually find like really genuine connections.
yeah.
And like I think within like the first 5 minutes of meeting Jane, she told me she was a dancer.
Oh, but you see, that's a part of the story that we want to get into, because if that's something that she told you, I think for me, for context, like I want to make sure I understand, where did you grow up? Like, tell me about home, because while I live in Austin, I'm originally from New York. And I think there's parts of that have come out in other episodes, and you may hear it if you ever have the chance to go out with me and have a drink.
Explain the swagger.
Yeah, my New York
style. I have to camera. This man has so much style. Yes.
Very
It's
thankful.
not Austin. It's not an Austin thing, men having style. Let me tell you.
You should
He's
see
from
his
New York.
closet.
Oh yeah.
I would love to.
Oh, it is
I would
like
actually love to.
it's a thing. But I gotta give credit to where credit's due. My older brother and sister, they can dress.
Okay.
They can dress.
That's important.
Yes.
That's
My mom
important.
too. My mom's got it going on.
Oh yeah. You get it from somewhere.
That's Jane, though. She's always, and you're asking her where she's from, but she's
Yeah.
always dressed up. And I feel like there must be a cultural difference, or she just has it.
Yeah.
Because people in Austin do not
No.
dress up. And this
It's-
woman's always
yeah.
dressed to the tens. So you too, though. You're like,
No.
you got both of you.
You got this.
Yeah.
I love it.
So cute. Okay, where I grew up, I moved a lot growing up. I'm a military kid. My dad was a doctor and lieutenant colonel in the Army.
Oh wow.
The U.S. Army. He is Puerto Rican. My mom is Korean.
Okay.
I was born on an army base in Panama City, Panama, like South America.
And thank you for his service.
Oh, thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you for saying that,
For sure.
because we're all enjoying freedom.
Yeah.
And with the world being the state of it is, we often don't realize how fragile safety is.
Oh yeah. We
And
take it for an advantage.
Yeah, we get to enjoy that off of like people losing their mental health, losing their physical health, and like it's beautiful to be grateful for that. That's all they want to.
Love.
They do it for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is great. It's good to be in America. We're so blessed.
Oh yeah.
So I was born in Panama. I moved a lot on the army bases around the world. And I ended up going to high school in San Antonio, Texas. I then went to college here in UT Austin.
Okay.
And then I graduated early, and then I went straight to South Korea.
Wow.
My parents had moved to South Korea when I was 17, so I was here by myself during that time.
Okay.
And my mom, she felt, if I can be frank, and that's what the podcast
I mean, this is what it's about. Yeah.
if I can be frank, America, when my dad was working as a doctor and lieutenant colonel, my family had a lot of respect. You
Yeah.
know, I never knew racism at that time. I'm very sensitive and emotional, so
Yeah.
forgive me in my emotions. I never.
Racism is live and well.
Yeah.
I can give you some experiences myself, but please, I want to hear
Of
you.
course, like
Yeah.
people think that racism isn't alive because we're appreciating hip hop, we're appreciating K-pop,
Mm-hmm.
we're appreciating fashion and Netflix shows, but racism is very much alive, let me tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Today, very present day.
Yeah.
Just because some people are borrowing what's cool and sexy from other cultures doesn't mean they're actually appreciating what our people and history have been through. So my dad, unfortunately, was a prisoner of war. He was tortured and electrocuted for being
sorry.
in the U.S. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And when he came back, the U.S. military sent him to a rehab in D.C. for a year. My mom and I had no idea what was going on. You know, from my mom, she was a Korean woman who married an American, Puerto Rican, but still American
For sure.
officer. My dad took care of everything for my mom and I. Her English is conversational. She didn't grow up here. Same thing for any of us if we were to go to Poland. You don't know the system there. So my mom...
It was a level of lack of
Yeah, so we had no idea what was going on. The military is just like, your husband's in Washington, D.C. We'll send him back to you in 10 months. We're like, interesting. When he came back, he was not the same person.
Wow.
And my mom and I became full-time caregivers. We were no longer living on the military base, and we were just civilians in the American public.
Wow.
And that's when, like, I experienced racism for the first time, and I saw it from my mom, too. I stood up for my mom a lot. My mom is so beautiful and such a queen.
Yeah.
She lets it roll off of her. She's just like, you basic people. Like, I don't know what you think, you know? But for me, I'm like, that's my mom. And, like, I didn't really grow up seeing people talk like that to my mom. Like, you're not going to talk to my mom like that. You're never going to look down on us. Like, she speaks 2 languages. Like, how many languages do you speak? You're not going to look down on us. Like, I'm very feisty like that. Like, I protect people I love. So it didn't bother my mom, but it bothered me a lot. And separately, a bigger issue than that was, like, when my dad was active duty. Keep in mind, my dad's a doctor.
Yeah.
When my dad was active duty, we had very good health care. But when you're retired from the military, you go to the VA hospital.
Oh, it changes.
It
completely.
changes.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're not working for us anymore?
Yeah.
Like, let's just drug you.
Yeah.
He would spend 20 hours a day sleeping. My mom and I would feed him, and his head would be, like, nodding off. And it wasn't like that for a day or two, you guys. It was like that for so many years, like 7 years.
Yeah.
And my mom and my dad felt like, no, I've served the army. I've served America. They're going to take care of me. It wasn't like that. And him being a doctor himself, he was like, no, it's working. The Western medicine's working. And my mom would beg him, like, please try Eastern medicine. Like, this isn't good for you. They don't respect us anymore. Like, you've got to quit believing in the system. So she had asked me, and I kind of regret this now. She had asked me when I was in middle school and high school, like, let's move to Korea. But for me, I was a kid. And so I was like, I don't want to go to Korea. Like, I didn't grow up there, and like...
But it's perspective too, right? Like, you can't take away the idea that you were a child.
I was a child, you know, so she waited until I graduated high school.
Gotta be fair to yourself.
Thank you, yeah. So I graduated high school after my junior year so that I could go to college early, and then she could take my dad to Korea to get help. So they were there, and I stayed here. I finished college, and she would tell me, you know, at that time I was considering going to med school. Yeah. And I'd taken like my MCATs and everything, which is really hard. And I'd spent all my college years like being this really good pre-med student. I wasn't a party girl. Like, it depends on your major, what your experience is like at UT. But if you have a very difficult major, you don't really get to do that like party girl lifestyle, sugar baby lifestyle that I hear about now. Like, I can't relate. I was a medical assistant. I was an EMT. Yeah. I was making sure I got good grades. I was signing up for like shadow doctors and things like that to look good on my med school application, you know. But my mom, she saw how much my dad suffered being a doctor and how unhealthy America was. And she also felt that I needed to be around people who literally just looked like me. Yeah. And she told me, like, you know, you're graduating from college. You don't need to be in America anymore. Come to Korea. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give it a year. And I expected to come back, to be honest. But when I moved there, I could see that she was right. Like, I didn't even know, you know, like when you're a fish in water, you don't know you're surrounded by water.
Absolutely.
I didn't know that I was constantly feeling less than. Yeah. In America until I went to Korea and I was around people who looked like me and they thought it was cool that I spoke English, and it was like I didn't know that I had gone so far in life not feeling like a part of the community that's around me, always feeling like an outsider. And so I stayed. I realized I needed friends, so like when I was in college, my friends would joke about me being their Miss Korea. So I was like, I'm going to run for Miss Korea. And I didn't do it. I truly was like, I'm not going to go far. I'm 5'4". Those girls like in beauty pageants are usually pretty tall. Sure. You know, and they like usually train for it and things like that. I was just like, I'm just going to sign up for it because I just wanted to make friends. Literally, I was living 2 kilometers south from North Korea.
Yeah.
Like we were not in Seoul, my family and I, when I went over there. So I signed up for it just to like make some friends, and
maybe for me, it's like when you're not living in Seoul and where you were living, what does that mean? Like, what does that come with, right?
I think when people think
I'm
North Korea, there's like a...
You were saying you were living by the border?
Yeah.
Okay, but living by the border, what does that come with? Is there like, you have to be more careful, or do you have to be more alert, or...
It's very safe.
Okay.
However, Korea is very mountainous.
Yeah.
It's a peninsula, you know.
I'm a contextual guy. Like
Yeah.
I got to get the whole
Oh, for
picture.
sure. It's
Yeah.
very farmland.
Okay.
The area we were at.
Okay.
And my aunt has a farm too, like lots of cows.
Okay.
So Korean people love to hike. Look, there's lots of mountains, so people love to get up there in the mountains. It's especially great for older people, and they love to do it.
Yeah.
And it's very safe. In fact, Imjingak, which is a Korean, how can I say, like roller coaster place?
Sure.
Is next to the border. Like there's like a playland next to the border on our side, South Korea side. However, there's also military with like barbed wire fence, of course, because you can't go there.
Yeah.
And they also should not come here. Of course, we hear about like Yunmi Park, like the refugee, you know, that she escaped, but like it's a lot for them North Koreans to escape, like, because in North Korean culture, and you know, Korean culture in general, very family and generational oriented.
And Umi Park was North Korea.
She was North Korean. She escaped with her mom. She saw her mom get raped in front of her, which I know is an ugly topic.
Absolutely.
But like that's what it takes, because those guards aren't gonna just let you in to be a good person.
Yeah.
You gotta bribe them, you gotta do something. And also you better make it, and you better not get caught, because should you not make it with your family,
makes me emotional to like hear or even think about that stuff. Like it's just
it's a lot. Should you not make it, they will not only damn you and make an example of you, they'll make an example of your entire family.
Yeah.
In the city center. So it's a lot. The South Korea side is fine though.
Yeah.
But you should be careful when you're hiking the mountains. There's one story when I was there of an older lady. She might have been hard of hearing because she was hiking the mountains that of the North and South Korean border on the South Korean side, and the army guys on the megaphone. Our military is mandatory for all men in Korea, South Korea.
Yeah.
Are like saying, "Hey, don't get any closer to the border.
Yeah.
We'll have to shoot you." And she just kept going, and they will shoot you, not because they want to, but
so that helps me to understand. So you're living closer and closer to the border, which is, those are shared experiences potentially that you could have based upon just even those examples, right? Like what, I don't want to interrupt you there, but it's like what made you move, right? Like if you got yourself there and you feel like this level of like this welcoming experience, you stayed longer than you anticipated, like why leave?
why did I come back to Austin?
Well, I want to touch on some other stuff first. Sorry, Roger.
No.
But like, I just think you're such a beautiful soul, and you're always so grateful, and you're always practicing gratitude. And whenever I'm like in my own head or like really down, you're always like reminding me of gratitude. And I just can't help but think that like being so close to like North Korea and everything that's going on there has had to influence your perspective on what gratitude is.
Oh, for sure.
And then the other thing I want to touch on, because, you know, former pageant girl here in some ways, because she was talking about, you did the Miss Korea pageant. How did that go for you? Because I know you said you were trying to make friends, and, you know, you came back to Austin, as Roger was saying, but how was that experience?
It was a really cool experience because I never had Asian girlfriends growing up. I was always the only one, like I was saying, like always feeling like an outsider or different or other than. And so it was really cool, you know, like it's the little things like, oh, you should do your makeup like this because our faces are like this, you know, or you should dress like this because like it's more flattering on body types like ours. Like it was a beautiful, like girly, fun energy. And I think I wasn't competition for them. I saw some cattiness between them, but everyone knew I wasn't going to win Miss Korea because I lived there for 2 months. You know what I mean? I think it was just an interesting story for everyone. Like, why is this Puerto Rican Korean girl who just moved from America running in this? You know? So, but I was so grateful to be a part of it. And
do you think that helped you at all?
I love that you did it.
Yeah.
You should see the photos. I see the photos of her from the pageant, and I'm like, oh my gosh, she's so beautiful. But it just, I feel like as a woman, it's such a, you have to be so confident to do that type of thing and put yourself out there. And
congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, for doing that. Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't know if it's because I grew up as the only Asian girl in the communities that I grew up in, but I didn't feel pretty, even though people told me I was pretty, because it always came with like a, oh, you're so pretty.
Like a
For
backhanded
an Asian
comment.
girl,
Yeah.
you know, and I was like, oh, I guess Asian girls aren't beautiful. I don't know, like, where I started forming this belief. So then when I was there and I saw like Asian girls being like pretty and like nice and like everything, it healed a part of like that wound inside of me for some reason. It was nice. Yeah.
It's interesting because like I've even heard that like being around you, like some of our girlfriends have said things before like, oh, Jane gets so many guys because she's Asian and there's not so many Asian guys or girls, sorry, in Texas. And I've heard people say things like that, and I know you've heard it as well. And to me, it's not something that I even thought of like how that actually like affects someone, you know, because to me, you're just a beautiful woman. But then it's kind of backhanded, I feel like, when you're saying because of XYZ.
Yeah, it's almost like if I wasn't Asian and I was more like Caucasian American looking, I also want to do a sidetrack and say that like Latin Americans, so sorry.
No, you're good.
Latin Americans who have served the military, Black Americans who have served the military, and Asian Americans who have served the military, no one deserves to be called American more than us. Like our families have literally sacrificed. So like the term like Asian American or Latin American, because even though I don't look very Puerto Rican, I am half Puerto Rican. Yeah. Like I hate that. I think like I am also Korean and Puerto Rican, but I'm also American, and like my dad literally is disabled from serving in this country. I don't want to hear anything ever about my family being less than. I won't stand for it. So whenever people are like, oh, like you're pretty for an Asian girl, or guys like you because you're Asian, it makes me feel like, so if I didn't have slanted eyes, like nothing about me is valuable. Yeah. Like that's funny.
I think you bring up something interesting, and like I'll put it to your point where there's some stigmas, right? Like I think it's almost hard for people to understand the level of dimension that you can come with just because you don't look like somebody, right? Like I'm from New York. Everyone thinks I'm from the inner city of New York, where they are correct to some degree, but I also did go to school in New Jersey. I was raised in other places other than the city. But naturally, people are going to put you in a box that makes sense to them, right? So I think sometimes a little bit of, like what I feel like I'm hearing is when someone can say to you, all right, like you're pretty, but you're pretty for an Asian girl. It's like, well, what does that mean? It's like, I'm pretty for the box of Asian that you understand, or the box of Asian American that you understand,
right? Which
is so different, right? And usually they're tied to epitomes, and it's just unfair. So I'm sorry that you've had that experience.
It's okay.
But at the same time, it brings you to a level of gratitude and being grateful. So I think it's very interesting to hear. For me, one, male and female, right? Like there's a different experience that you have versus myself, but also I share Puerto Rican descent. And I would love to, thank you.
Spicy.
It's nice for me to hear from somebody else, right? That you've had some of that shared experience, or it aligned with you, not because that's fun or anyone should experience it, but just to know I'm not going fucking crazy.
Yeah, no, definitely. And people want to say things like, oh, well, you don't look very Puerto Rican. It's like, all Puerto Ricans are mixed.
Oh,
because
absolutely.
we were colonized, you know? There's no such thing as who is a pure Puerto Rican, J-Lo? That's not true.
Yeah.
She is from 100, her 23andMe would go off the charts insane. And just like that, no one's American.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I did mine and it's crazy.
Yeah. You were all mixed, and that's what makes it beautiful. And as much as I stand up for like, oh, you will not make anyone feel less than, I also have to like back up myself and say that I get defensive because I really love people, and I really love us being a community and being there for each other and being less superficial and sharing love. Like, not to get too deep and like randomly sidetrack, but I was having a phone call with my friend on the way here to restore my faith in humanity, because so many people want to think that life is about making money, looking hot, getting things, and it's like you really live for that.
Yeah.
You really live to be that separate and better than your fellow human. No,
Yeah.
you don't.
Well, it's like that also brings me to another point where you can connect some of your history and a little bit about you, and I hear it and I learn more about it, and it sounds not only interesting, but it helps me to understand you. Do you think like you're given that same stage in your dating experiences? Like, do you think that your perspective alters your dating experiences?
Well, I think you have to preface this too, though, because tying in your career right now.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely.
Oh,
With
this is a cannonball.
I know, and I'm so cautious of this too, because the first thing I asked Jane is, "Are you gonna let me talk about you being a dancer?"
Yeah.
And she's so open with it, and that's why I gravitated towards her when I first met her. I was like, this woman is so vulnerable right off the bat. She was so confident in herself. She had no worry about telling me that she was a dancer. She didn't worry about how I was going to judge her, perceive her. She was like, this is who I am. This is what I do. She's like, it's fun. Like, come see me. Like, showed me her shoes, showed
Which
me
is
her
the way it
outfit.
should be, right? Like, there's nothing you should be ashamed of, but if you're going to lie about it, then there should be another conversation. And then people have the right to judge and feel the way they feel.
And I'm a woman that's kind of like fascinated with dancing, okay? Like I've done like all the dancing classes.
Yeah.
I just think it's so like fascinating and such a fun, like glitzy, girly kind of world in some ways that I was asking you like all the questions about it.
I feel like there's a level of empowerment. Like, it's to me, I respect it wholeheartedly, but I get very confused when people lie about it, right?
Yeah, I understand the lying because I used to lie when I first started dancing, and I truly thought in my beginning of my journey, I will go to my grave with this.
Got it.
I'm gonna make my money.
Yeah.
Make up what I lost during COVID, which I might get into later, might not, but let's move past it for a second.
Sure.
And go to my grave never telling one this. I was like, I am especially never telling my husband this, my future husband.
Yeah.
And then I remembered this book that I read by Sam Harris, who's a great modern philosopher, called Lying. And it's a book about the butterfly effect of the truth and the butterfly effect of lies.
Yeah.
And how we think that these little white lies don't change anything and are convenient. And if it's a beautiful book, everyone should read or at least listen to segments of it, even if it's like
For
a 10-minute overview on YouTube, because it's about how you're not only screwing over other people when you deny them the truth, you're screwing over yourself.
Yeah.
And, Jordan Peterson, I love modern philosophers, also talks about how he's counseled hundreds of people, was a Harvard professor, and he talks about how he's never met someone who could get away with something in their conscious.
Oh, yeah.
And I started to feel that way as a dancer. I felt shame. I felt like trash, if I can be very vulnerable.
Of course.
I also felt like...
We've all lied and have experiences similar, but...
Right.
I mean, it's just...
That's so true, too. People always act like being a dancer is like very other than experience, but it's so human, because who hasn't felt like they had something to be embarrassed about? Who hasn't felt like, am I good enough? Am I okay?
Yeah.
Like, I'm in my journey of trying to make it as an adult, just like all of us, and like, am I deserving? Could I really tell the truth about myself and still be loved and accepted by people?
Yeah.
And lying is a huge act of not self-love. I don't know how else to say that.
No, it's healthy.
Whereas telling the truth is an act of self-love, because when you tell the truth, in your brain you're saying, I deserve to be loved and to be accepted.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not perfect. And everyone has to come to that healthy place of like, I am not perfect. I have room, I have to grow. But damn, I still deserve love.
Yeah.
There's something good inside of me that no one can take away. And I won't deny myself.
You trying to make me cry, Jane?
True friendship. I will not deny myself true friendship by hiding who I am.
No. I would even say to like your point where it's just like, everybody, like, you have such an open heart, and you talk about like wanting to restore your faith in humanity and having that phone call with your friend. It's like hearing you speak and hearing you discuss it in that way. It's like even that closed-minded shift that I may just have had, where it's like tough for me to understand if someone wants to lie, but then you're right. It's like we've all lied about things.
Of course.
Not only have we all lied about things, we've all had to face the truth in something. And when you do, guess what? There are people that you've hurt, and there are people that you have to apologize to. And there are some people you don't have the chance to apologize to, just because it is what it is. But really living in that truth, I mean, it's an act of self-love.
It is.
And it's hard to face, right? Like I respect you. I appreciate it.
Respect you too. I
Yeah,
appreciate both.
I don't think you understand how much that can affect people in the audience, but also even us, right? Like I love the way you enunciated that or vocalized it.
Thank you for giving me the chance to again.
That was so beautiful, because even Roger and I were talking about this the other day, and I was telling him some things. Roger knows a lot about me.
Yeah.
A lot about me. Like, I tell him pretty much everything.
Likewise.
Aw, what a beautiful friend.
Right, I'm
You
telling
meet people you can tell everything to. Yeah.
I tell him like all the dirty laundry from my past. And like, I did this, but I'm not like this anymore. And I was telling him about this guy I was dating, and I was like, but I don't want to tell him about X, and I don't want to tell him about this.
Yeah.
And Roger's like, all that stuff's cool with me though, because he accepts me for who I am.
100%.
And it's like, why would I even want to date someone that I don't feel safe telling those things to? Because it's that version of lying to myself. So what you're saying, it just like, I feel like it encompasses so many things that I've been experiencing personally. I know you've been experiencing.
100%.
But it's like,
Because it goes both ways. I tell you everything.
Yes.
And then those moments when I do tell her everything, it's like not only a stress is like pulled off my shoulder, there's something that's rewarding about it, right?
Yes.
It's a
You're
level.
free.
Yes.
You want freedom in life? That doesn't come from money or people liking you. It comes from the inside. Yeah.
the thing that I struggle with this though is like the concept of like different versions of myself, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes there's like versions of like past me that are so not me anymore. I feel like I've shed that skin. So
I hear you.
I've really shed that skin. So then it's like, I don't want to bring up these things from my past.
Isn't that shitty when like people make you live in that?
Yeah. but Jane might be onto something. It's a part of your truth.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I think that that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what? Because I'm going through a lot in my dating life right now.
Sure.
And
The juicy shit.
Yeah.
Can't
Juicy.
I'm trying to make life of some heavy shit. Well, we have differing opinions. I mean, I also understand him though, because, let me preface this by saying, like, I might be farther along in my inner work journey, but that doesn't make me better than anyone, because they might be farther along in their fitness journey. They might be farther along in their money journey.
Absolutely.
You know, something like we're all got our strengths and weaknesses. So my guy that I was dating, he's not as far along in his inner journey, and so he felt
Most
like
guys aren't.
most guys aren't.
It takes
but
a traumatic experience to get there.
I love a man who is, and let me tell you, in this world, there is nothing more beautiful than a man who's going to work on his inside.
Oh yeah.
I went to a event on Sunday. It was a potluck, and my friend Ashley and we met this guy who, when we visually saw him, he wasn't either of our types.
Yeah.
But he sat down and talked to us while we were eating in the potluck, and he
was everybody's type.
He was everyone's type. Her and I both were like, oh my God,
Who is this man?
who is this man? Like, he has a girlfriend and girl he's dating, but he is so lucky, and we all know it
Love
because
that.
he did the inner work, and he just got so attractive because we felt safe around him. And I don't think that men understand that there's nothing sexy for us as women when we have to clam up, you know, and you guys don't like it when we're like that either, but you owe it to yourself
fact,
and us to like make it safe for us so that we can relax, you know? And that is very masculine. And in that way, there's nothing more masculine than like going to therapy, reading books on love, reading books on how to hold space and be there for people and be the bigger person. Like, that is a man. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care what your body looks like. If you do not hold space for a woman, if you can't say, hey, what do you need right now? If you can't say, like, I'm hurt, but I know that you're hurt too, and I want us to resolve this, like, what's it gonna take? You're not a man. Don't you dare call yourself a man.
That's sweet.
You hurt. You either heal or you hurt. Heal. Be a step up. Yeah.
I feel like the man has to be so strong and
It's
like
so true.
emotionally
You
regulated.
heal or you hurt. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, because I feel like women, we're a little bit more hormonal and emotional, and we move like water. So if we're throwing all this at you, I feel like the man's got to be a little bit calmer to be able to handle it. And that's, you have to do that like self-care, self-love, introspection to be able to be that space for a woman.
Of course. Let me tell you something. Women are multipliers.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
whenever guys are like, what do you bring to the table? I'm like, I can multiply you. We're
Yeah.
multipliers, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
So I will multiply everything about you. You know, let me be vulgar for a second because I'm kind of like that. Like, if you come
No,
inside
that's
of me,
fair.
I will multiply and give you children.
Yeah.
You give me bad energy, I will multiply that back to you. If you give me good energy, I will make a home for you and
Yeah.
make you the best life of your life and
That's so
ride for
sweet.
you and stand up for you. I'll dress you better. We'll get healthier together. I will a good woman. And I'll give it up to guys because I have a lot of guy friends. I know that there's some bad women out there.
Yeah.
But that's a girl.
Yeah.
Just like how we need to talk more about this, how there's like real men and there's little boys.
Yeah.
There's also real women who handle life and can really be there for you and ride for you. And there's little girls.
Yeah.
You know, and if you men who are like, oh, there's no good woman out there, it's because you're rewarding little girls. If you want to stand next to a real woman, she will multiply everything you hand to her.
Yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing.
For sure.
I think it's a very good mirror for men when they're like, all women are bad. I'm like, that's really interesting.
You know, that leads us to leads me to one of our questions from the podcast that we like to make sure we ask everybody of what is the biggest misconception about you? Because like you're delivering such great truth, encapsulating things in such a good way, opening up my perspective, which I'd like to say is easy, but also hard. I'm very open, but at the same time, like, it takes a certain level of me understanding and hearing somebody. I hear you very well, and you're definitely approaching topics in a good way. I think it's helping me to highlight conversations that we've had. But what is the biggest misconception about you? Because if you're offering all of these jewels and pearls and knowledge on the podcast today, is there anybody else in the world that doesn't see you that way? Like,
I know, I'm on this. I'm like, how can you not see how beautiful?
yeah, like yeah.
Thank you. I think the biggest misconception about me,
Because she talks very highly of you, and you match all of that energy that she talks about
I
you
love her
with,
too.
right? So it's like, yeah, please take it away.
I think the biggest misconception about me is that I'm very strong and I don't need anyone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm a human too. Like, all the strength I've had my experiences work out my resilience to get to this point, but I'm human too.
Yeah.
I need to be held too. I need people in my life to hold space for me and let me be vulnerable. I need guidance sometimes too. Like, I'm not perfect.
Oh.
I'm not above saying that because I actually want to be my best.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think people see me, even though I'm very small framed, like I'm 100 pounds and 5'4", like people see me as very strong and they tell me that all the time. But like, I don't, want to be strong all the time too. I want to like relax and have fun too.
There's something that you're touching on that I want to make sure we dive into. It sounds like you have a very large risk appetite.
I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'll take on large risks, but you're also rewarded in large ways. So if you want to dive into some of the other topics that you can about ways in which you have been rewarded in large ways, that's great as well.
Yeah.
But do you think that plays a part in your dating? Like, if you're able to have that large risk appetite, will you take on more of a man project than you should? Will you multiply more than you want to? Like, I mean, I want to give you the stage to answer it however you like, but how does that affect your dating life?
I don't settle.
Okay.
And I think that's my big risk. Like,
Okay.
I've been
Does that make you move fast or no?
Ooh, I do move fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that in the healthiest way possible for our
For
audience.
sure.
Let's like stop the judgment world. Like, I mean it in a way of like, you'll know you're done and you're like, you got to move to your next.
Yeah, I know when I'm done, but it doesn't mean I don't hurt when it's over.
Yeah.
I say that I won't settle. I think this is my biggest risk. I've been offered marriage 4 times, and
Yeah.
all 4 guys were millionaires.
Yeah.
And I did not want to marry them because I don't want to marry someone who wants to own me. I want to marry someone who wants to love me. And there's a really good book by Bell Hooks called All About Love because
Yeah.
we're so confused
Yeah,
on
I've
what
read
love
that.
is.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful book, right?
It is good.
And she defines love, which is important to say because I love tacos. It's not the same as I love you because I don't
As good as that book is, it's tough because you reference it back in a lot of your experiences, and then you start to say like, nope, that's not good enough. Nope, that's not good enough.
Yeah. And maybe we should say it like, this situation needs more work.
Yeah.
You know, the thing about love is that it's infinite, and love is about pouring into someone's spirit.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she defines love as. Like,
Yeah.
I pour into your spirit. I don't pour into the spirit of tacos.
Yeah.
But I pour into the spirit of my friends and family, my people, try to make sure you're okay. I want to pour into, I love you means I want to pour into you.
For sure.
I love you does not mean I want to take from you.
Absolutely.
I love you means I want to pour into you. Like, it matters to me that you're okay. I'm not okay if you're not okay.
Yeah.
That's love. And a lot of the guys from my past that I've dated, you know, they might have taken care of me financially or even socially when it came to their ego and like
Sure.
wanting to make me their girl and protect me. But I didn't feel that they really cared to pour into my spirit and love and grow my spirit and heal me. And I felt that they loved that I would do that for them, but I want love back.
So you want reciprocity.
I do, yeah. And I would accept, like, I think that's why I've worked so hard to be financially stable, because I want real love.
Yeah.
And I deserve it. And I don't need of course I would like us to have financial abundance. And that's not wrong to say, because just like I need a lot of health to have a good life.
Yeah.
And that is a resource. I need a lot of money to have a good life. And that's a resource too. But if I can contribute that way, and my dude can a little less, that's okay. As long as we have real love and partnership, like everything else is okay.
Yeah. I feel like that's what life is all about, is love.
It is.
I think Jane, you found me when I was like at like one of the lowest points of my life probably, and I was in such a dark place, and like in our friendship all you did was like pour love into me and show up for me. And I think people are too afraid to say I love you, whether it's to their friends or to someone they're dating, when really all you're saying is I see the brightness in you and I want to pour into you. So I have a really hard time why people are confused, because to all my friends I always say I love you, right? And that's just saying like what you're saying, like I see you, I want to pour into you. And another friend of mine told me that if you want to receive love, you have to show up as love every day, right? Like when you go to Starbucks, like you have to like smile at the barista and say hi and how's your day.
Oh, I have the worst time with those folks on the side of the street that are like,
oh yeah,
hey, do you care about? I'm like, yes, I care about it, but I'm walking the damn dog. Like,
yeah,
that's real. That's okay.
Yeah.
You don't owe them anything, but it also takes something to be like, I see you. I hope you have a good day.
yeah. And you're right.
that's what, because I'll go like head down throughout my day and I'll just like be in my own little world, and that's not showing up in the world emitting a frequency of love.
Yeah.
That's fear.
Yeah.
There's no room for fear. There's no room in love for fear. It takes so much bravery, and we all want it. And that's so cool, actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, I get hyped up.
Yeah.
That's so cool to think that, like, for the most precious thing in the world, all we have to do is overcome that fear.
That's
inside.
it.
Yeah.
And like I don't even have anything to say. You're both saying it right.
Yeah.
Like you keep going, because
Well,
I'm rocking with your message
so,
right now.
Jane, she took me to this dating event at Kuya. It's like a healing kind of like cold plunge place here in Austin.
And we'll no longer be going to those, and we're going to Thursday dating events from now on.
Well, Kuya is like a wellness center. So we went to an event at Kuya, and it was like a dating event, right? And the first thing I said when like we were like in this circle and we were meeting new people is this guy looked at me, because we were sitting across from people going in a dating circle, and the first thing I said to him was, I don't want to be seen, because we had to sit there and make, I don't know if you remember this, we had to make
Prolonged eye contact.
And the first thing I said to him was, I really don't want to be seen right now.
Like my eye contact, it's too tough sometimes. Like I like look through people, so I have to like look off and then look back, and then it makes me look bad. I'm like, you don't want these eyes, like.
They want it.
But for me, that was like such a profound experience.
Yeah.
And like what you're saying, like with me walking heads down and like realizing that I didn't truly want to be seen, you know? And if you don't want to be seen, how are you going to receive love?
Do you feel like you're deserving of love?
Oh no. We could do a whole podcast.
She just hit you with a reverse Uno card.
We could do a whole podcast episode on this, but recently I just stopped seeing someone that, I don't even know if I want to call it seeing. I had been in this long cycle, and you know who it is, who I'm talking about.
Entanglement.
He fumbled the bag. He sounds great, but I just don't know. I don't get it. I can't defend him.
It doesn't matter. From day one, I knew this person was emotionally unavailable, and I continued to try to pour into someone who...
I've been on his team up since day one. I hope he hears this.
I don't think so. But he's not emotionally available. So I knew that I was obviously going after someone who's emotionally unavailable. So it's like, I clearly must not be that emotionally available. I don't know.
I think if I could offer my 2 cents and just what you
When did this become Cass's therapy?
No, I think
Because we love you.
You did a good thing here, which is like on the podcast, you ask a question, right? And you have every right to ask a question. As much as this is a stage for you, it is for us as well.
It is.
But I think
you matter.
You do. You definitely do, right? And we all do, and to everybody in the audience, they do as well. I think there's something that is important about where I say I defended this guy. It's like I defended him because you offered a lot of opportunities for him to be seen, and you kept giving him every opportunity for a safe space to be seen. And sometimes us males do need that a little bit more, right? Like, I know I've had states where vulnerability was not my strong suit. I've had states where being emotionally healthy was not my strong suit. I've had moments where I was on that brink of like, hey, there's a version of either I'm healing or I'm hurting, right? And maybe I was doing hurting, and not even maybe, I was hurting and not healing and offering that frequency to life. You offered this guy every opportunity to exist on that right path. And I think the answer is you do deserve love. Just don't let that dilute your experience or change the way in which you want to experience love, because you did a wonderful job, like a bang up job, and you deserve all the credit in the world, and you really have to accept that.
Yeah. I mean, I saw someone hurting, I suppose, and I tried to pour love somewhere where they didn't want it.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
I
held space.
You're putting mulch on cement
for that person, where if they wanted to step up, they could have.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I never regret loving someone.
And the thing is quickly as I switched, started putting the love back on myself, I realized like all it is.
How much damn love you were giving out.
How much damn love I was giving out is how much love is inside of me.
Yeah.
Of course.
I love that.
It's also a beautiful thing to love, even when it fails. You know, it's like sometimes you can go through periods when you're hurting.
Yeah.
And you're like you said, hoodie down, just like, I'm gonna work on myself, and you start saying very false beliefs, and you're like, fuck everyone else, da 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 da.
Yeah.
And then you meet someone who shines your light in a dark room.
Oh yeah.
And then you're like, damn, I forgot I could feel this. And that is something to be like grateful for.
Oh yeah.
That he turned on the light inside of you.
This is the conversation we had over brunch.
That's what's so fun is like when you're seeing the world in black and white, and then you meet someone and you kind of start seeing the world in color again.
Yeah.
Jane was like that for me though, so that's like a different form of love.
I think there's versions of you that is that for not only her but me. I mean, look at this stage right now on the podcast. There's so many great things that you're saying on here that I cannot tell you the level of appreciation that I have.
No, I can't. I'm telling you, I told Roger so many times. I was like, you have got to get Jane on because it's going to be so beautiful.
And we're team receipts over here. If you ever need to see the receipts, we got them. But I mean, Cass, you've been that as well. Like you have been so amazing to my healing journey, and so amazing to helping me see that color again. Because it's tough, right? Like mind you, there's also other people that have been in my life. Like I have an amazing person that's in my life now who has been a part of that as well. But it's hard to find those qualities after you've been what you feel like duped from somebody else in the world, no matter the experience, partnership, friendship, business. It hurts. And pain is real. But when you go through it, rather than like box it in and like avoid it, or like try to get even or try to hurt somebody or try to get back at them, like it's just, those are all the wrong ways, and you have to go through it. And when you go through it, you come out so much better.
So much better.
So it's just, it's nice the way, you said it, to be able to see the world in color again. It's like, you have that experience. You just love the wrong man. That's it.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting is like loving someone who wasn't meant for me. I've never looked at myself harder in the mirror.
Ooh.
It felt like I'm not saying that this person was my twin flame, but I don't know if you've ever heard of like a twin.
He wasn't your twin?
No. But like the concept of the twin flame, I feel like I really had to like look at myself in the mirror this last year and look at everything about myself and face everything about myself and get that reflected back in my face. And so I've probably never had so much growth from putting my love in the wrong place.
Yeah.
You know, people say that love is like this honeymoon, honey phase, but
Absolutely not.
No. Like, I'm reading this book right now. This is very cheesy and vulnerable because as a 31-year-old woman, you do not want to admit you're reading a book like this because you want to look cool. But let me not look cool for a second. I'm reading a book called Calling in the One.
Yeah.
Because it was so highly talked about, so recommended by Catherine Woodward Thomas. And she talks about how in our parents' generation of getting married, it was all about like, okay, well, we need to survive, so we need to combine our resources. Someone needs to do the house, and someone needs the money, someone needs to do, you know, it was just filling job roles. Whereas like in today's world where you potentially can just be self-sufficient in like a task way, what we want out of our partner and love is for someone to help us meet our potential. And who said reaching your potential was comfortable? You know?
Yeah.
Who said that? It requires looking at
That is good.
all of my, like you said, it requires looking at all of your flaws, all of the ways in which we knew to do better and we didn't do better, where we have no one to blame but ourselves for holding ourselves back. And it also requires seeing these are all the good things about me, and I need to keep shining that light brighter while working on taking away the darkness inside of me. And that's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That's so, that makes life and love so worth it for all the shit we go through, you guys.
I think something that like relates to why you thought she would be just so great on the podcast is really relative to what you just said there. I think you talk about ways in which our parents experience love and marriage, right? And then there's a new version of that in the present reality we're in, or present day. Well, guess what? We are the ones going through that change and evolution process. And I think that's really where people don't give enough attention to what's happening in the dating world that we live in today. Because we have parents judging it one way, and then we have us experiencing it another way. And then we have these new codes of conduct and rules that we have to adjust and abide by to that we're like, wait, I was raised on something totally different. And then it just creates chaos and confusion. But in chaos and confusion, you could really find something beautiful. So yes, to your point, it is so beautiful. And it's so great.
It is.
Yeah.
Love is great.
So what qualities do you look for in a person? I mean, we've talked about not only a little bit of your story, we talked about a little bit of kind of some of the things you do for business. And if you want to dive into anything that we've already talked about in the past, by all means, take the stage at any given moment. But we also dived into some of the wisdom that you have, ways in which you've gotten it, which is through healing and
I feel like there's so much on Jane's story we're not going to be able to touch because we're going to have to wrap it up.
Yeah.
But what I do want to say is there's so many other topics I want to cover with her, so we're gonna have to get her back on the podcast too, because Jane also like had.
I'm over here like so interested.
I know she like literally had her own business in Korea as like a translator before she came here, and like she's so beautiful, and she does so much like healing therapies with like plant medicine and therapy and journaling and self-care, and there's so many other points I really want to touch on with her. Yeah. Actually, this coming weekend, she invited me to a plant ceremony to do like Aya and some other stuff, and I really, really, really wanted to go. It's not going to work out. Yeah. I'm going to have to go to one. Maybe we can get you to go to one.
I'm down.
Then we can get Jane back on and talk about all of this. Okay. But we're out of time for the show. We've got to wrap it up. Yes. Where can we say this, and I don't know if we should say this, but where can people go to stalk you on social media?
because they're gonna want to learn more about
Well,
you.
first of all, I would just want to go look at her photos because she's so beautiful.
You're so sweet.
Cass is your biggest fan over here.
I love you. You could go to Instagram, just Jane Santiago Marini.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
She posts the cutest stuff, so.
All right.
And then we always close it out one way.
There's only one way in which we close out the podcast, and it's
This is like episode 4 or 5, and I'm already like, this is so dorky, but I love it.
It's so funny though, because we have to like fall in line with it. But for everybody next week that's watching this week, make sure you come back, because you know this is the one place where it's going down.
Thank you so much for coming on. We love you so much.
Yes.
Like,
for having me.
you're such a beautiful soul, seriously. So
We appreciate
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you for your time.
Thank
yeah,
you.
it was so good.